Welcome to Slash Bash, where today I am bringing you another Entitled Parents Reddit video. In our first story, an entitled mom expects me to let her and her kid hang out in my house. Let's jump right in. This all happened during the Texas power outages. My whole street had lost power and I was getting ready to head to my uncle's house because he had electricity. Not even kidding, 2 minutes before I was about to leave, I get a knock at the door. I go to answer it and I see my neighbor who lives in the house behind me, we'll call her Big Bertha, with her kid. I say hey and ask what's going on. Big Bertha tells me they had family occupying their house and they needed a place to stay because it was too full. I said to them, "Sorry, I'm leaving myself, I won't be able to let you guys stay." Keep in mind, I barely even know these people. She responds with the most entitled statement ever. "So, you're going to be the reason we freeze. Selfish." I was honestly in shock. I didn't know what to do. I was just expecting for her to accept my response and be on her way. I said, "I'm sorry," and went to close the door. As it was closing, I heard her say, "Ouch!" I turned around to see she put her foot in the door so it wouldn't close. She then opened it back up and stepped into my house, yanking her kid in with her. Looking at me, she says, "We're not leaving." What? What do you mean you're not leaving? I don't know what to think. This fool was acting like she was the dictator of r/weekly dictator or something. At that point, I knew she was too stubborn to be convinced. I'd have to trick her. Here's what I did. I said, "Here, come with me. I'll get you the spare key to my house so you can access it while I'm gone. It's out front." I grabbed my bags and had them follow me outside. As soon as the door closed, I locked it, ran to my car, and sped out of my driveway. I nearly ran over Big Bertha because she thought she could stop me by standing in the middle of the road, but I swerved onto someone's lawn. When I got to my uncle's, I realized I forgot my phone, but it turned out alright because I didn't really need it anyways. But my gosh, that lady was insane. So far, I haven't seen her since that incident. In story number 2, an entitled mother wants her 10 cents. Once a week, usually, I will stop by the local coffee shop and pick up a drink and a donut on the way to work. I make my own most days, but this is my treat day. The coffee shop near my work is right off of a major highway, so it is always busy, and with the COVID restrictions, most times I end up waiting outside because of the lineup. Today was no different. There were about 10 people in line, and I got in line behind an entitled mother. She got in line just before I did, but I could hear her already start as soon as she got there. "Oh my god, this place is so slow. Why do I have to wait outside?" I have my headphones on, so even though I can hear her complaining, I can easily ignore her. It took a good 5 to 10 minutes until we were even in the store, and she was complaining the whole time. "My kids are in the car getting cold. Why do they only have 1 person on the counter and 5 on drive-thru? I don't have time for this." I've put my 2 years in working at a coffee shop, so I understand things can get busy, and yeah, they should probably put more people on the counter. But what are they going to do, grow a new person in the back? They only have so many people working. When we finally got in, we could see the counter girl running around as fast as she could. She definitely wasn't lollygagging or anything. But still, the entitled mother loudly kept complaining. There was no way the counter girl didn't hear her. Another 5 minutes and it was the entitled mother's turn to order. She started with a, "Ugh, finally." Then she ordered a drink and a couple of sandwiches. It came to $9.90 altogether. The entitled mother gave the girl a $10 bill and then stuck her hand out for her change. "I want my 10 cents back, please. You don't deserve it." The girl just sighed, gave her her change, then made her coffee. The entitled mother took it without even a thank you and went to the sandwich area to wait for her sandwich. My turn came. I ordered my coffee and donut. It came to about $3, but as luck would have it, I had a free coffee today, so it was only $1. Normally, I don't carry much cash and I will pay with just my debit and throw them a quarter or two if I have it, but today I happen to have $5 in my wallet. As a father of 2, this surprised even me. So I handed it to her, and when she tried to give me the $4 change, I, loud enough so entitled mother could hear, said, "No thanks, you work hard, you keep it." The girl smiled and said thanks. Entitled mother looked over at me like she had just smelled a fart or something. When I opened the bag at work, there was a second donut in the bag. Never tasted so good. Hopefully, the entitled mother learned. She got her dime, but I got the extra donut. In story number 3, when a clearly disabled person falls over, what does an entitled parent do? Me again, and for once it involves a family member dealing with an entitled parent instead of being one. I figured I'd share since I just got home from this happening. A bit of context: due to a brain injury a few years back, my father's motor skills haven't been the greatest. He can't operate machinery and his memory is awful. He can usually walk around fine, if wobbly on most days, but when he's having a bad day, he needs the help of a cane or a walker. Even then, he can be pretty prone to falling over. No biggie and no ambulance needed as long as he doesn't hit his head, and he can easily get back up with help. So he's with me as we're on a grocery run, since he insists on paying. I'm carting our stuff back to the car and he's hobbling alongside me with his cane, as it's a bit of an off day for him. I begin loading our stuff into the car when Dad takes a bit of a tumble. As I go over to help my dad stand, I nearly jump out of my skin as this nearby woman with kids sees us and practically screams. I kinda shoot her a "what the flip lady" look while I'm helping him up, but this woman is just scowling at me and whispering into her phone. I helped my dad into the car so he can sit and catch his breath. While I finished putting up my groceries, I heard someone call out to me. I turned to see a police officer. Reddit, do you want to know what this Karen's reaction was to seeing a 50-something-year-old man with a cane falling over? Apparently, other than screaming, it was to call the cops and report him for public drunkenness. I didn't even know that was a thing until it was explained to me, but apparently in my state it's a Class C misdemeanor and you can get fined up to $500. A few questions and a breathalyzer test cleared my dad's name, and we got to go home without incident, and I never did find out what happened to that nutcase of a woman. But what kind of ass-backwards worldview do you need to have in order to look at an elderly person who's fallen over, see that they have a cane, and think, "Ooh, a drunkard and hazard to polite society"? Yowza, you leave Reddit for a few days and your post about a Karen encounter blows up. Thanks for the awards, thanks to everyone who shared their own stories, and thanks to those who informed me that apparently the cop busting out the breathalyzer was uncalled for. If I had known, I definitely would have spoken up about it. Brush up on your local law, kids. It could save you some trouble. In story number 4, an entitled parent tells me to reevaluate whether or not I want to keep my job. So I did. I'm a 19-year-old female and I work for my neighbors as a full-time nanny for their baby girl, Lena, who's a 1-year-old female. They have 2 other daughters, Haley, 8, and Taya, 11, but I have been specifically instructed by their parents that I am only there for Lena, not them. I wear a mask my entire workday, and so do the 2 older girls and parents. We are very aware and safe. So this past Friday, I was getting up for work and I received a text from my boss, I'll call her Rachel, detailing that she and her husband would both be gone from the house until noon, and I was to skip my 11 a.m. break in order to make sure the other 2 girls would be supervised. I had just woken up, so I said okay and went to make my coffee. I have a hard time saying no on the spot, and it takes me a minute to think through some things, lol. When Lena went down for her nap that morning, I texted both bosses and told them that I completely understood that they were going to appointments they had or things they needed to do, but I would like to be asked if taking on 3 children and skipping my break is something I'm willing to do rather than told. I also told them that my hourly for all 3 girls is $20, compared to the $15 I make watching Lena alone, and that I would like to be paid as such. I received a long text from their mom around 15 minutes later that basically said they felt as though they had made several exceptions where my pay is concerned, and that she was perturbed by my message. She then went on to detail 3 different instances in which they had shown me kindness and felt as though I should have made an exception. To top it off, she asked me to reevaluate over the next 2-week period whether or not I wanted to keep my job. I was really taken aback by this message, so I called my mom and asked her what she thought. My mom was pissed. She told me that pre-apocalypse, she would drive Haley and Taya to school in the morning along with my sister and would pick them up as well in the afternoon. I guess there were plenty of times my bosses assumed my mom would babysit after school with minimal heads up and leave. My mom had to tell them to stop or pay her for her time. I have also kind of felt like they were dumping all their kids on me, especially because I serve as unpaid supervision for the 2 eldest girls due to the fact that both parents work in isolated parts of the home. I constructed my own message back and detailed my own 5-point list of kindnesses that I have shown the family, including last summer when I worked the same job I work now for $5 an hour to help out when the mom had to take on a summer job. I have also recently agreed to take on an extra 10 hours weekly with no increase in pay to show my appreciation for this job. I then told her that I didn't understand how any of what she said had to do with the fact that I need to be asked in advance to take care of all 3 girls. I told her I was unsure of what I had said that was deserving of a response, asking me to reconsider if I want to keep my job. I put in my 2 weeks and told her that I did not appreciate my job stability being threatened over something so minimal, to use this time to find alternative childcare, and that we would part as friendly neighbors. They pretty much freaked out. I don't think Rachel was actually expecting me to quit. She told me I had stressed her out by texting her in the first place, and that she was just trying to make sure I was being properly paid because I had made it sound like they were shortchanging me. I told her that they were shortchanging me and that she shouldn't have threatened me. She looked at the floor and her poor husband was trying to do so much damage control. It was pretty awkward, lol. I do love the little one I babysit, but this has been such a mentally and physically taxing job as it is. I guess this was the straw that broke the camel's back for me. This is kind of a bittersweet, malicious compliance. I'm gonna miss her, but not how tired I am, lol. And I definitely won't miss being taken advantage of. Standing up for myself felt like a small victory. This is John from /bash. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed the video and want to see more of them, then hit that subscribe button. We would love for you to drop a like, share it with your friends, and we will see you in the next one.